We got another psychology lesson today, and in this lesson, I wanted to talk about a very important topic as it pertains to the transition of full-time trading and just starting to think in terms of like, how is life going to be once you become a full-time trader? And for a lot of people, they think it's just going to be unlimited money forever, every single day, and that you're never going to have to worry about how much you spend. You can just spend every single day you can make, and that's just not the reality of the situation. So the problem that I see with a lot of beginner traders, even with a lot of advanced and intermediate traders, is they're still trying to live in the same economy they lived in when they had a normal job, when they had a normal business, when they had a normal career and normal routine and a fixed scheduled payment structure, fixed bills, fixed dates, fixed this, fixed that. Well, guys, in trading, there is no guarantees. Nothing is fixed. Everything is variable. You can go on huge runs where you're making people's salaries in minutes, and you can go on huge downturns where you're not making anything for months. So with that understanding, there is a very particular way you have to manage your life outside of trading in order to be able to survive. And the closest comparison that I have heard explained or that I could think of was the rainforest economy. So the rainforest, guys, think about what happens, or think about farming or anything that is just seasonal where you're living off of the land. There's seasons of harvest and reaping, and there's seasons of sowing, stowing away for the winter, and living off of the resources, living off of the harvest that you have got in the previous season. Now, what happens if a bear gathers resources to hibernate in the winter and he severely undermeasures how much food him and his family need? Well, probably a couple weeks, a couple months into the winter, they're all going to fucking starve to death. Why? Because they mismanaged their resources. They misallocated for the downturn. And what do I see a lot of traders do? They make a bunch of money, they misallocate it, they spend it all, and when the downturn comes, they're back in the fucking poorhouse. So we don't want that for you guys. I've done that several times. In fact, I've done that so many times that I couldn't even list it on a 100-column bullet point list how many times I did it. It's got to be in the multiple 500s by this point. But guys, that's why we're here. You're here to learn from every single mistake that I had to make over and over and over and over again before I figured it out. So, rainforest economy, let's go ahead and get into it. We have to learn about the seasons. We have to learn about the concepts of sowing and reaping. And the first thing we have to understand is just how this reality differs from the reality we might be coming from. So, in a normal life, this is usually what your life will look like, right? Steady, consistent paycheck, usually the 1st and the 15th. Some of you get paid weekly, some of you get paid monthly. But long story short, it is fixed. Your bills easily align with the paychecks. Even if you're living paycheck to paycheck, at least you get it a day before, maybe 2 days after, pay a little late fee or something. But even those of you living a little bit behind, you still can count on the fact that it's going to schedule your payment every 2 weeks, every week, every month, etc. You can live off of a fixed budget. You can also live off of a fixed timeline. You know you could spend the same amount on food this month, and by next month, you're going to have the same amount to spend on food the next month. There's no discrepancy. There's no like, oh, they'll cut my paycheck last minute. It is almost a guarantee. So there's no spikes. So there's no upside, but there's also none of that downside. You're just right there, just steady. And then the last thing is inputs and outputs. So if you work harder or if you work more hours, a lot of times you'll make more money. It's a direct one-to-one with effort, money, hours, money. So that's normal life. That's the world that a lot of you guys are still living in. That's the world that you're coming from. And that's the world that you're trying to make trading. I have to tell you that's never going to happen, because this is exactly what trading is, and it's the exact opposite. So what is trading? It's inconsistent, unpredictable pay. It is sometimes no pay, guys. It's sometimes negative pay, but it's also sometimes incredible pay. So you're balancing the highs and lows of both, the pros and cons of both. You are paid simply whenever the market provides. You could be waiting all month, sitting on your hands, and on the 31st of the month, you can make $20,000 in 2 minutes. You can also wake up on the 1st of the month, make $20,000 in 2 minutes, and be good for the rest of the month. But you'll never be able to predict when that's going to happen, where it's going to happen, or what day out of the month that it's going to happen. Or if it even is going to happen, you still can't predict that either. So whenever the market decides to pay you, you get paid. Not a moment sooner, not a moment later. At least not consistently. Bills keep coming, despite money or no money. Regardless if I make any money in the market, take any trades this month or not, my bills still arrive at the same amount, on the same time, on the same day, and the same consequences happen if I do not pay them. So how do you manage that? How do you figure that? Well, budgeting and timing is nearly impossible. So you can't budget, you can't time, you can't fix things into these spreadsheets, into these fixed, this much is going to come on this day so I can spend this much. You have to ebb and flow. You have to adapt. You have to live in a rainforest economy and follow the principles of sowing and reaping. So more effort has no effect on money, guys. Money is a byproduct of process and perfect execution, like we've talked about. So hours worked, effort, time, this has no effect on the amount you make in trading. The only thing that matters is perfect execution. So the question then becomes, how do you execute perfectly when you are living in such uncertainty? How can you sit there on your hands with certainty when you're living very much in a world that is designed around pure uncertainty? Well, that's where probabilities come into play, but that's also where budgeting comes into play. Self-control. Validating yourself instead of trying to get strangers to validate you for what you have or what you wear, or what you own. All the things that are probably also impacting your trading. So, let me take you through a following thought process. In normal life, right? This is how I used to live. I would get paid bi-weekly. I would go out and spend the whole entire thing. Usually on rent, usually on food, but every other dollar would go to entertainment, some bullshit, whatever it was. Because I knew 2 weeks from then, I get paid then. And even if I went broke in between this point, I can at least scrape by and kind of starve. And by the time that 2 weeks comes around, I can go ahead and spend again. But understand, trading is not going to be like this, guys. You can't just be in the habit of make, spend, thinking that is still going to come. Because there's no guarantee. Even at my level right now, there is no guarantee I make money this month. Luckily, I have investments set up, I have other businesses, other cash flow, and I've already made more than enough for both January, February, and March in just January alone when it comes to just paying my bills. So I am good. But what happens if I go out and I decide I want an AP today? Well, guess what? I am going to be stuck with no money until the next trade. And then what happens when I have to pay rent? Well, I got to force a trade out of the market. So even when you're up, even when you're in a good position, you can still fuck yourself. Now, with trading, what happens? Trading, sometimes, let's just say you start off the month really good. Let's say you make a big bag in trading, 3 times what you would make at your normal job. And you make that beginning of the month. Well, the first instinct most traders have is, oh my gosh, I'm going to start thinking of all the things I can buy with that, just like I do when I'm at my job. But now it's 10 times more extravagant. Now you're having Lamborghini dreams, guys. You're Lamborghini dreaming out here. And you haven't even found consistency, and you're already starting to think about all of this crazy shit. So that's not good. Little do you understand, when you're spending all of this, the market can subtly turn. Maybe the next month you make nothing at all, or you barely just pay your account fees. Now you're really hurting. Now all of this flashiness you were doing, all of this shit you were buying, is going up on OfferUp, is going up on Depop. That Gucci jacket's going up on Facebook Marketplace because you got to pay your rent. True story. Based on me. All right, and then the next month, what happens when you don't make any money again? Well, now you can't even pay your evals. And by the time this gets here, many never make it. So this is why people are inconsistent, guys. It doesn't have too much to do with the charts. It has to do with this. It has to do with habits. It has to do with desires. It has to do with unfulfilled dissatisfaction with who you are, and you think dressing it up, making it look nice, is going to solve all your internal issues. It's not, guys. So stop thinking that trading is just going to be this unlimited money. I have to have no discipline. I can just live off of one trade for the rest of my life. No, guys. Requires even more discipline. It requires 10 to 100 times more discipline than in a normal life, especially financially. So the most difficult part about living in a rainforest economy is adapting your personal finances along with the ebbs and flows of the market. A lot of people are too ego-filled, too prideful to go ahead and scale back their lifestyle when the market stops providing. So do not make that mistake. I already see a lot of you guys starting to make money with my model. Even those of you who are not in my paid mentorship are still making money off the free concepts. So this is very relevant to you guys who are starting to make life-changing money, those of you who are starting to make more money than you did at your job. I know it's exciting. I know it's cool. I'm not saying don't go blow any money. Go ahead. But once you're done doing that, once you've got over yourself, guys, understand that this is the only way to truly succeed in this long term. So with that being said, hope you enjoyed this lesson. Comment down below if you had some breakthrough. Comment down below if I'm striking you right in your soul with this lesson. And we will move on to the next day where we're going to talk about draw on liquidity, daily bias, all of that good stuff. And we're going to start getting you guys way, way closer to taking these trades. Comment day 17 complete if you made it this far, and let me know what your biggest epiphany was from this video. Take care, everyone. Have a blessed night, and I will see you in the next lesson.